What's up, everybody, and welcome to the iReach podcast. I'm your host, Paul Robinson, founder and CEO of ConstructReach, a national consultancy and initiative that aims to diversify the construction, design, and innovation industries and empower a younger generation. Every single week, we are here merging education, industry, and culture with a variety of featured guests that you do not want to miss. So let's go, iReach. All right, guys. So we are back here with another episode, and we've got another amazing guest. We just keep them lined up for you all. Hopefully, you are enjoying this. But today, we have got Mr. Chris Seville with us. Chris, hopefully, I said the last name correct, man. I'm a stickler about that. I want people to say my name correct. So,
I hear you, Paul. No, it's Chris Seville, just like the Cadillac. You nailed it. So that's the easy way to remember it.
Cool, man. You my guy already. Did you know, if you didn't know, my middle name is Cadillac.
Nah. Or you just drive one? Both?
Yeah, man. No. My middle name is Cadillac. Now, I'm a junior, so I got it by default.
Nice.
But my dad was born in a Cadillac, and I'm Paul Cadillac Robinson Jr. So, yeah. I'll remember that last name very easily now. So, yeah.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, that was my nickname playing football and running track too as well, Cadillac. So it stuck with me all throughout college. So yeah, I'm right there with you, Cadillac Robinson. All right.
Cool. Yep, that's me. Cool, man. Well, yeah, thank you for joining us today, man. Listen, we want to have a conversation, want to get a chance to hear your story as we try to highlight different stories, man, within this industry of construction. And so, let's jump right into it. Tell us your journey, how you got into this industry.
Oh, man. So, construction has always been near and dear to the heart, just going back to Jamaica all those summers and watching the guys put up the masonry. That was very common in Jamaica. So that's where I first visualized it, right? Went to college, thought I was going to be an engineer. I graduated with my civil engineering degree. Thought I was going to be working on Department of Transportation as a transportation engineer, or even, a geotech engineer. And lo and behold, all paths led right back to construction. So it was always near and dear. I started in 2011 in the construction industry, and we could start from the beginning if you want, but it's really just testing construction materials as an engineer in training, and from there that was it.
Wow. No, that's good, man. That's good. It's interesting, man. So, you said as you were going back to Jamaica and you were able to see a lot of that construction taking place kind of right before you. Would you classify that? And I would say so, because it's in your story. But how formative of an experience was that for you? And then, like, how large of a role did that play in your gravitation toward construction? As you were coming of age?
Yeah, so it's every summer as a kid I used to go back to Jamaica, and it was really just watching the guys, do masonry work on our in our neighborhood back in Jamaica. So I was literally watching the guys lay masonry, and then lo and behold, they said, "Come over here and lay some block," and come over here, grab one of these and put it on top, and let me show you how to do it. And then that's how I really started. It was really a hands-on experience, and I was like, this is cool. Like, here we are building something that's going to be used, whether it's an addition, a house. It was just, to me, amazing, right? You use your hands and you're building it, and I think that drew me all the way in.
Yeah, no, that's good, man, and that's a good story to share, because I think construction, and you can let me know what your thoughts are as well, but I think construction is one of the few kind of careers that you can have where you actually get a chance to see the fruit of your labor at the end of every single day. When you go in, a project is a certain way, but then when you leave, it's a little bit further along than when you came. And a lot of times we can work in different areas, and not to belittle any of those other areas because they're significant in their own right, but there's a lot of things that we can dedicate a lot of time and attention to and effort to, and not necessarily see if what we are contributing is actually leading to any progress.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. You see the fruits of your labor, right? It's, I talk to contractors now, and they can tell you what they did that day, or you can go be a real manager and check what they did, right? It's just trust but verify, and then you see the process, and you're like, you go home at night, and you're like, man, I'm on level 3 pouring concrete, and you see the elevation go higher and higher. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's one of the few industries where you can really say, look at my work, right? Even now, driving down the street, whether it's in Miami or here in West Palm, I see buildings that I've took part in, and I look at it and it's there, right? So I can show it to my daughter, I can show it to my mother. So it's a bit of a legacy thing, and I don't want to say ego because it has a derogatory term, but it's almost feeding the ego, right? To see what you have done thus far. So yeah, you're absolutely right in terms of the fruit of your labors. You actually see it in this industry.
No, that's good, man. Especially when you can point to something that creates an experience for generations to come, for so many, and then being able to like put a tangible, reference to, hey, this is what my work contributed to, and this is what I was a part of. This is what I did. This is what I designed, and this is what I built.
Right.
And having your family see that, those tangible examples, man, and I think that speaks volumes. And yeah, I hear you with the ego thing, but I think it just kind of feeds into, just having a sense of pride though,
Yeah.
about what you do, what your work contributes to, man. And especially if it's something that advances society, that creates a space that are memorable moments or necessary spaces that people need, for different community members or what have you. I think you do have a certain element of pride that goes into that, being a part of something that is so significant.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's the pride part, but just after years of experience is the people part too, right? So one of my sayings is always, build buildings, build people, and build relationships, right? So it's yes, it's the pride thing, but there's a part where camaraderie kicks in as well. It's a 360 of, you have the people portion, you have the actual technical portion, the logical thinking, the critical thinking portion, and then the physical, the physical work. So you don't get that in a lot of industries, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. I've grown now to make more than friends on projects, right? Or just more than coworkers or colleagues. You stick around, and as big as the industry is, it's small, right? It's in your area. Everyone knows someone that knows someone, right? So that's where I stand in terms of my thought process in terms of construction overall.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. That's well said. So when you think about kind of your proudest moment, because I'm gonna go both ends of the spectrum here. When you think about your proudest moment, right? Like what's been your proudest moment? Maybe proudest project or what have you, but I'll let you answer that kind of how you want to, the way you're receiving that. But what's been your proudest moment thus far?
Finishing up one of the biggest projects in West Palm Beach, and it was one of the only projects where I was on it from pre-construction all the way to receiving our certificate of occupancy. And that project is called the Bristol of West Palm Beach, and that propelled the industry for condo high rises. And at that time, I was at Suffolk Construction, which is a GC general contractor down here in South Florida. And I was just blessed, actually, for this opportunity, through God's grace. So we started this project not knowing how we were going to finish it. Right. It was one of those projects where it looks great on paper, and then the details, as reviewing shop drawings from glass, from the stone in the bathrooms, the framing throughout the intimate details of the lobby. All those came into play, and you just so many people walked away from that project. So many people, and to say I stuck through it was almost a testament of my mental toughness, right? And that boosted my confidence to a whole nother level. Out of the project, I want to say that it took 7 years from plans to finishing, but through that process, I think over 22, well, it was 22 to 25 project managers and superintendents, just for the general contractor that actually went through the project and cycled out, right? And only 2-3 people stuck all the way through, and those are my brothers, man. And so that was my proudest moment, finishing up the Bristol, propelling the industry here. And then the best part about it was actually bringing some inner city kids in the area to tour it, right? Just to show them that you don't have to be swinging a hammer. You don't have to be digging a hole. You don't have to be that in construction. You can actually be a manager. You could be a superintendent. You could be a project executive one day. Don't stop now, right? So I think that was one of my proudest moments, because it was in the backyard where I was born and raised. I actually got the community involved, and then I finished, right? It's not many people who can say they finished a project.
Yeah. No, that is good, man. Starting something and finishing something, that's a testament in and of itself. Being able to finish through some things, man, despite some of the ups and downs. That is very good. So talk to me a bit, man, about, because that's definitely something that I want to put a pin in here, because I think this is important. With allowing construction that takes place in all communities, right? To be more communal in that process of being developed and built, so that we can bring the community, educators, young people, man, behind that proverbial construction fence, if you will, to let them get exposed to what their options are, especially in the inner city, man, where sometimes it's only presented that there's a handful of options, and we're not allowing them to have spaces and environments that cultivates so many gifts that they have that are just untapped. And so speak to me a little bit, man, about how the kids received that opportunity to get the tour, to understand that, and then also to meet you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, it started with my cousin, Devin Lewis. He was a social worker in the area, and he really dedicate his life to the inner city children, or to the at-risk youth. And I'm sitting here, and I'm so passionate about what I'm doing and how beautiful this building is, and I'm just like, hey man, I want to show the world. I want to show the kids, like, this is amazing. And he's like, you know what? Let's set it up. And I said, all right, let me work through some legality issues in terms of signing paperwork, waivers. What's the minimum age I could get them in here, or what day, where it's not too much activity going on the site. And we made it happen. The marketing department at Suffolk teamed up with myself, and then also Inspire Youth, which was Devin's company, and we brought the kids in. These young adults were between the ages of 16 and 18, and they were they were amazed, right? So I don't know if you're familiar with Palm Beach and West Palm Beach, where you have West Palm Beach, and then just right over the bridge 2 miles away, you have Palm Beach, the town, which is it's a high, it's a pretty high range area, high profile area, so some of these kids never even crossed that bridge before. They go to the beach because they don't know if they're allowed or not, right? And it's a free world. Of course you are. So just to bring them up to the building where you can see the west side of Palm Beach County to the east side, all the way to the ocean, their eyes were so big where they never seen anything like it. You would think they were on top of the Empire State Building. They received it in a different way that day, and just to see the joy in their eyes running through the units, these $1 million condos, and just looking at the details and the kitchen, the bathroom, everything, and saying like, people actually live like this. And we don't know it, but people actually live like this. This isn't Beverly Hills, but people are actually living like this. And one day you probably can too, and depending on how hard you work on it. So it was one of those moments where I felt joy, where I finally felt like I was connected to the community. And that's huge, because they can go back and tell, if you help one person, you might be helping 10, right? So they can go back and tell their mother, their father, their cousin, their friends, even another mentee that they're mentoring one day about that experience and what it takes, right? And we went through the whole process of different roles in construction management, as a general contractor. Then you have the architect design team, then you have the owners and the development team, and we dove deep. So that was a very intimate, passionate moment of mine. But it's important to involve the community. That a building is only a building. If you don't involve the community, it won't be a resident, right? So, my goal is to bring life to these buildings, but also add life to the city around it, right? So that's where my passion lies.
Well said, man. Yes, well said. Oh man, I teed you up. I told you we were gonna swing the pendulum, man. We were gonna go from one extreme to the next. I should have started out with this question first, but I'm gonna ask you. We gonna come down. So just as we've got our proudest moments, right? What has been the biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge. Could it be the same thing, finishing that building? The biggest challenge coming in, straight in. I didn't tell you the whole story, but I went from construction material testing. I'm talking about from the bottom, out there testing concrete, to getting a phone call, setting up an interview, and joining the pre-construction department at Suffolk as an estimator. And that was a challenging time, because one, they really call you out if you don't know how to read plans. It was a learning moment. I think that time where I first started I was used to reading plans, no more than 50 sheets. Then they show you this big set of plans, yay thick, of maybe 800 to 1,000 something sheets. And I can remember it like yesterday. They were like, okay, you're going to get division 10, 11, 12. And I was like, well, okay, what's in all these divisions? And I open up the spec book, and I'm just like, I'm amazed, right? But at the same time, worrisome, like, I think this is the moment where they might fire me, because I'm gonna have to learn all of this in a matter of weeks, right? So that was the most challenging moment. You felt like you were on the island when you first started, but thank God for mentors. That makes it easier for you to reach out to and ask the stupid question, right? Most importantly, the guy who hired me, the president at the time, every time we were in a meeting, he would ask a question. It was a humbling question. They hear it from him, like, oh, he doesn't know that, but I know this. It was a humbling moment where it's like, okay, there really isn't no stupid question in construction. We're always learning. So the most challenging time was just getting started in this different world of construction. I was used to, concrete additions, homes, and then now I'm doing high rises in terms of pre-construction and estimating. And I think that was the true challenge during that time. Working, reading plans and staying there till 8 without trying to look crazy, or I even leave regular time with everyone and come back and then go home, open up the plans, go through it, and just just get better at my craft at that time. Come in on the weekends if I can. I could finish my work and still double, triple, quadruple check it. So I think those were the humbling moments, definitely challenging moments that kind of molded me into the animal I am today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's good, man. That's good. No, thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that, and also just the work that it takes, man, to develop that craft and to get good at it, right? And to start building that that approach, man, to leading kind of with this spirit of excellency, man, to be good at what you do, to be a good steward over what's been given to you. Because it does, man. It feels good to know what you're doing, and to be able to produce. So when you think about the industry and the state of it, like what do you think some of the industry needs are right now, and how can it be better, right? So that there's more success stories like you, and there's more kids being introduced to what their options are and tapping into some of that untapped potential, with the intentionality that construction can take in various communities. What are your thoughts about what the industry needs a little bit more of?
You know, the industry needs more of a balance, right? It's and it could go. We can talk about background, race. We could talk about technology. It just needs to be balanced where you know we've lost our way. Everything is either really technology advanced and driven, but no practical approach, right? And then sometimes, depending on who you're dealing with, it could be the total opposite and no technological advancement, right? So I think it needs more balance, more experienced guys in the field to shed that knowledge for the young, ambitious one coming in. More young people to be teaching the more experienced people on how to use the technology to their best of ability, but also to their advantage to make the project successful. But more, I'm seeing more and more diversity in the industry right now, which is amazing. And that's women in construction. That's black people, in construction. I think that's what we need. Everybody wants the quick money. Everybody wants to be they want to hurry up and be the project executive. They want to hurry up and be the president, vice president. But no one wants to do the grunt work nowadays. Not necessarily no one, but it's hard to find people to do that grunt work, that grind, the humbling moments. I think that's what we need a little bit more of is just more people who are ready to do the grit and the grind, and also definitely we're seeing more exposure to black colleges. I remember starting and going to FSU at the time. We shared our school with FAMU for College of Engineering, FAMU, Florida Agriculture Mechanical University, historical black college, and you have Florida State University up there in Tallahassee. And we didn't really see the imbalance really, but afterwards, and seeing these college fairs, you didn't see the big companies going to the HBCU for construction management, architecture, to recruit, right? They'll flock to the PWI institutions, right? So now you're seeing more of that, which is amazing, where you're seeing more colleges or more companies reach out to HBCUs. And I think that's where it starts, because everybody who hires wants you to have experience. And then you don't gain that experience, whether it's internships, whether it's the first job entry level into some program such as a project engineer. I think that's becoming more common now, and I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to witness the change just from 12 years ago. Right now, so it's transformed a lot in the last 12 years. But that I think that's where we are at this point. And I think it's going to only get better from here.
Yeah, yeah. Now we definitely have to keep working at it, man. Celebrating how
Yeah,
far we have come, and then recognizing that we still have a ways to go. And to keep
yeah, absolutely.
coming to the forefront with that intentionality, man. To share our stories, have that intentionality, create that balance, and get in front of young people to create an appetite for this industry at a very young age during some formative years when youth are learning about what careers exist and what they are, and so being able to be more intentional about that. I say this all the time, and it just kind of goes
Yeah,
back to your
be
story.
intentional.
Is that it's that being intentional, man. Like this
Yeah,
this industry is
absolutely.
all around us, and it's happening all of the time.
Yeah,
So many different career pathways that exist that are right in our neighborhoods with buildings and roads and everything that's being developed. Like that falls under the umbrella of this industry, and so it takes that intentionality, man, to kind of open those doors, be more communal with what happens in our community to for its overall
yeah,
sustainability and the enhancement, man, of society and just our communities. And so, no, that's good.
absolutely. And just one more thing, just to jump back into it, because here I go again. Um, I say this, with no disrespect to anyone, but we don't need a handout, right? All we're asking for is a fair chance. All we're asking for is that opportunity to learn, but more importantly, to show that we belong at this table, right? So, a lot of people, the industry comes in and it's by chance that they know someone, or someone they called in a favor, or this was their dorm buddy, or but we don't have that in our community, and all we're asking for more than before is just a fair shot, right? Give us a fair shot. I don't want you to lower the bar for me, nor for any of my people or friends and family. Like I want a shot, and that's it, right? So that's one thing I always want to make clear is I never lower the bar for any minority. Let's definitely give us a chance and let's make it happen.
Yeah. That's it, man. That is well said. We gonna let it stand right there. We gonna let it end right there because that is worth everything. But Chris, I appreciate you, man, for being on. It was a pleasure, brother. Much success to you, and
All right.
thanks for just sharing your story.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. I appreciate you, Paul, and your team. Thanks for setting this up.
All right, take care.
All right, take care.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning into our show. Remember, like, share, subscribe to the podcast, and join the movement as we reach to build a better future that we can all be proud of.